Good morning. So it's early morning here in Norway. Sun isn't properly up yet, and I'm still in my sleeping braid. But I wanted to get a video out before my hubby wakes up and the house gets full of noise and distractions. So this is sort of a follow-up on the video I made yesterday about mocking religion. Because there seems to be some sort of confusion for many with the difference between mocking and criticizing. Now, I have never said that you shouldn't criticize religion. I've never said that you should put religion on some sort of pedestal and never say anything bad about it. But there's a very big difference between mocking and criticizing. For example, take the idea that, like for example, many Christians believe that if you don't follow their faith, then you go straight to hell. I think that I'm very much against that idea, and I've spoken out against it many times. For example, an argument I often use when Christians come with that, I say that is it only that belief that matters? Doesn't deeds matters anything? Are you telling me that if you have a man who is a complete monster, he beats his wife, he murders, he rapes little children, and in every way acts like the antithesis on everything that your religion say it's for, but on his deathbed he turns to Christianity and professes his belief in your religion and asks for forgiveness. He go then to heaven, while if you have a man who is always kind to his wife, always treats his neighbors with respect, always gives more than he takes, always helps others live a good, humble, hard-working life, and is everything that your religion says to aspire to, but he's a Shintoist, and he go then straight to hell. His deeds doesn't matter. Now, what I've just presented, that's a criticism. And you can even have a sharp criticism and say that, how can this be? What's the point here? Like, for example, the idea that um, homosexuality is so terrible. Well, yeah, it does say in the Bible that it is a sin to be homosexual. However, it also says that it's basically an equal sin to eat shrimp, wear clothing of different types of fabric, and a whole other thing. If you, for example, made a video where let's say you have first a gay couple kissing, and then you have a woman eating a shrimp sandwich, and then a man at a clothing store pulling on a pair of cotton jeans and a silk shirt. And then you have the next scene, you have those three being sent to hell together. And have some sin will send you to hell according to the Bible. Basically, that makes your point across. It's pretty sharp. It it sort of says, I think that this idea is very wrong. Look here, if we're going to follow this idea, we might as well follow the idea that if you eat shrimp, you end up in hell. So, and that's sharp criticism, but it's criticism. It's completely fine. Making a picture where you drench a crucifix in piss, that's not criticism, that's mockery. Saying that somebody is insane or that they're stupid for their beliefs, that's mockery. Let's take that, for example, that there's been so much in the media lately that there's a movie with Muhammad that mocks the Muslim prophet. What's the point of it? I mean, or those drawings that were done by that Danish artist. It shows Muhammad as a pig. What is the point? That's not criticism, it's just mockery. It doesn't criticize points in Islam, it doesn't address things that you might disagree with. It just mocks this religion. And there's the difference. Now, to use an example that is not from religion, just to balance things out a bit, let's go back to the 80s and 90s, and the debate between those that preferred Nintendo and those that preferred Sega. Just to illustrate my point. If I were wanted to argue for Sega, I might say that, well, it's been proven that the controller is more ergonomically correct. You can play for longer without getting pain in your hands, and has been shown that at times people who play a lot of Nintendo will get joint problems. That's a criticism of Nintendo, while at the same time presenting thing I prefer in a good light. If I were arguing for Nintendo, I might say that on every aspect except one, the Super Nintendo is technologically superior to the Sega. There's one part of the processing speed where Sega is quicker, but in other elements the Nintendo has more advanced components. That's criticism. I might even go so far as to criticize their Sega's marketing ploy. I might say, well, in Nintendo's commercials, what it do is presenting the Nintendo and its products in a good light. It tries to get consumers to buy this product because it's attempted to make them cool. Sega bases their entire campaign on making Nintendo look childish and like little more than a toy for toddlers. And instead of presenting their products in a good light, they say that the other product is bad. That to me indicates that they just don't have a good product to show. So their only basis is to try to make the other party look bad. That's criticism. However, saying everyone that chooses Sega, they just bedwetters and idiots and obviously are stupid, or go and if I know that my buddy were a big Sega fan, and trust me, when you were 12 in the 90s, this was a very, very big deal, and you just draw a picture of Sega and you then piss on it in the schoolyard, what is this going to achieve other than hurting and or angering the other person? And it's the same with mocking religion. Mocking doesn't work. Mocking is nothing other than a bully tactic. Now, does that mean that it's never an acceptable tactic to try to humiliate the other party in a debate and so on? No, not necessarily, but it has to be a reason for it. For example, in a political debate, take that the recent one in the recent election in the United States. Some of the Republican candidates made very ill-advised comments and then highlighting that to show their incompetence. That's a point to that, because it shows the potential voters that is this what you want from your leader? Just mocking anyone who is silently practicing their religion, that doesn't achieve anything. And just to make myself clear, I've never said that you shouldn't speak up against religion if you feel that some part of it is wrong. I enter debate with people of my own faith, of different faiths, all the time. I've not said that you should say, oh, religion, no, I agree with everything. No, I said you shouldn't mock religion. It's a very big difference. So, let me take another example. I do not agree with with how the Americans present their soldiers. That if you have somehow at some point gone to war, then you're automatically a hero. And I will argue against that. I will say that how are you a hero just for signing up and going to war? And basically, no, these people are not protecting your homeland. When they go to Iraq, when they go to Afghanistan, they're not protecting the United States. They are part of a force going into another country. When they shoot some militia or even end up killing a civilian in Iraq, that person was never a danger to the United States. They're not protecting them. And I am against that hero worship of these people. And I might say that. What I would not do is then go around and disrespecting their names on on the cemetery. I wouldn't go and uh, call these people bad names because it would be an offense to their families, and it would be an offense to those people that strongly believe that these people are heroes. I will present why I think they are not, why I think that being in a military doesn't make you a hero automatically. But I won't go and mock them. There's the big difference. Or to bring the discussion back to religion, for example, I had a debate with a charming young Saudi Arabian woman a while ago, and she said that how Saudi Arabian women are treated, that's fine because she was completely content. Uh, because in her family, every male member doted on her, they drove her around, they did everything for her, and so on. And she didn't see what's the problem that she didn't have the same rights as a man. Where I said that the problem is that I'm not saying that every woman will be unhappy in um, in a situation where the man in her life controller is the boss, controls her. I'm Korean. I sort of my lifestyle is sort of based around it. What I am saying is that if you if half the population is subject to the other half, then that other half gains so much power. It means that yes, sure, your husband and your father and your brothers are good, decent people that put your happiness before their own and treats you like a queen. This won't always happen. It's like my grandmother was a housewife, and while it could be debated who was the boss of the relationship, most things were written up in my grandfather's name, but he would have never hurt her. And then it's fine, you can arrange things the way you want. But in the 50s or and before, there were a lot of women that were hurt, then didn't have the legal opportunities to do something about it. Then you put your life completely in somebody else's hands, not by your choice, as I might do when I submit to another Gorian, but by law. And I find something very wrong with that. And then she says, yeah, but if you look at Saudi Arabia compared to the United States, there are a lot less domestic abuse. I say, yeah, but the problem is that a lot of the things that in the United States and other parts of the West considers domestic abuse that will be taken into court for domestic abuse is completely legal in Saudi Arabia and therefore will of course not go to trial. It doesn't work to think like that. It's like saying, uh, like for example here in Norway, the sexual the age where you can legally have sex with someone is 16. So it's like saying that, well, there are far fewer people who are put in jail for having sex with 16-year-olds in Norway, so obviously that doesn't happen here. I'm not saying I think that the legal limit should definitely be 16. I think it should be perhaps lower than that. But my point is just, yeah, but it's legal here, so of course people aren't put into jail for it. So your argument don't hold water. And there's nothing wrong with saying that. But there's something wrong with saying is you're an evil person, you're stupid, you're delusional for having your ideas. Or saying I'm going to take and draw what you hold the most dear in your life, and I'm going to draw it in the most foul way you can imagine, just because I disagree with your life choices. That's mocking. Basically, presenting an argument why you are against something, even if you do so sharply, that's criticizing. Just insulting something, making trying to make it look bad, trying to um, uh, trying to make those that believe in it feel bad, and basically treating it like shit. That's mockery, and that's what I'm against. I've never been against criticizing religion. I criticize my own religion, like for example with the threefold law, that it's so nicely put, the idea of karma coming and biting your ass if you do something bad. I don't know how many Wiccans, no, I'm not Wiccan, but I'm Wiccanish. I don't know how many people that believe this I have argued with. And for example, also a young Wiccan girl I was discussing, and she said she had proof that there were that the karma was indeed a powerful force, because she had a friend and he were practicing magic, and he generally acted like an idiot. He would insult people, be mean to people, um, treat others like shit, and generally were a bad person. And in addition, he had the habit of getting both stoned and drunk and drive around like a maniac. And one of the days he did this, both stoned and completely stinking drunk, he got into a car accident and got paralyzed from the waist down. See, karma at work. I told her, well, if you see karma as cause and effect, perhaps, but if you see it as some sort of divine retribution for him being an asshole, then I would rather say that he had angels watching over him, because if he had a habit of quite often getting both stinking drunk and high at the same time and driving around like a maniac, and he only got paralyzed from the waist down, but survived and didn't kill anyone in the process, that's been pretty damn lucky. Your argument doesn't hold water. If I then, and that's fine, I'm saying this doesn't work. I often also use the argument that, okay, if you say that everyone's actions are returned to them, threefold. So if I do something bad to you, I will get that back times three. How do you then explain Hitler? He started a war. He ordered the horrible treatment of who knows how many Jews and other people. He ordered the execution of a lot of disabled children. Well, we all know what Hitler did. And how did he die? He was surrounded by his wife and loved ones, and he took one bullet to the head. A quick, painless death in the arms of his wife. I don't see that this is even remotely proportionate to what he did, and far from being 3 times worse. Now, of course, then you can make the argument, but he suffers a lot more in the afterlife and so on, so you can, of course, continue that debate. But the point is, making that statement, that's criticism. It's saying, I don't think your idea is that thought out. However, if I had then made a video where I mock people, say that everyone that believed in the threefold law, they're idiots, and see how stupid they are, ha 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 ha, that's mocking. And what does it accomplish? How does it... When I make an argument, I want people to consider what I have to say. How does it make people consider what I have to say if I mock them and don't treat them with respect? Mocking and criticism are not the same thing. I think you should definitely criticize religion. You should criticize anything that you don't believe in, or criticize what you believe in as well. I love debate with people who are critical of what I believe, because that forces me to think. And of course, not everybody will think that way. Some Christians will argue that any sort of criticism of their beliefs is evil or mean, or not just Christians, any faith, any concept that people hold. Some people will not tolerate criticism, and I don't think that's a good standpoint. I think that criticism is definitely what will make you grow, but basically, when somebody draws a painting saying colors doesn't completely match, and I'm I think that the eyes are sort of off here. It's a criticism, saying you must be a complete idiot. That's the most stupid and ugly thing I've ever seen. That's mockery. Can you not see the difference here? Anyway, I've rambled on this quite enough. My point is, my main point, just as with the other video, is that meeting prejudice with prejudice doesn't get you anywhere. Meeting prejudice with well thought out arguments and understanding that will. Prejudice against prejudice will always breed more prejudice. Prejudice met with understanding has a chance of killing prejudice. So yeah, criticize away, don't mock. That's my point. Have a great day and blessed be.